All right, fellas, this one is pretty interesting to me. It is the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens sitting at 6.5. So it's not quite the touchdown, Stephen, but it is right under a total of 46. We have gotten, and now, guys, we are doing this extremely early on a Friday. The official injury report will come out later today. So I do say, by all means, specifically in this game, go and find it and figure it out. However, Mark Andrews did not practice Wednesday. Mark Andrews did not practice Thursday. They were saying they wanted to give him rest for something that was kind of bothering him with his knee. As we know, he has been the only weapon for this Ravens team over the last 3 weeks. The only guy Lamar Jackson is throwing to, the only positive basically for this team nearly over the last month of this season. So it is something I'm keeping a big time eye on, because I can see myself you talk about hold your nose. I can see myself holding my nose and putting a Browns ticket in my account, despite the fact that this Browns team cannot defend anybody running the ball. The three of us would average 4.8 yards per carry against this Browns defense. There's no doubt about that. But if there is no option for the Ravens to move the ball through the air, I think I'm just going to have to plug my nose and take the Browns here. What are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, no way I can back the Ravens at this number with the Mark Andrews situation in flux here, so that you have to wait on that. And man, with these records, the market is not giving us discounts based on record, right? This year, it's not happening. They're sniffing it out, and we're having to play closer to ceiling than we are floors on these teams, because the Ravens are 3-3, but there have been 40 teams in NFL history to lead by 10 plus points in each of their first 6 games. And then the first of those teams to not have a winning record after those 6 games. So the market's sniffing this out a little bit. Big number here that the Ravens have to cover. And on the flip side, Matt, this Browns defense, probably the 3 most head-scratching things I've seen this year. I don't know why they're so bad. They have a lot of talent on this defense. I don't know why they're not better than they are. But at this point, you just have to accept it. We've played enough games at this point where the Browns just are broken on defense. So I didn't like side or total here. I was curious what you guys thought of the over here at 45.5. I don't see this as your traditional AFC North low scoring matchup. I think both of these defenses are vulnerable. We have 2 elite pass blocking offensive lines as well, number 1 and number 3 in pass block win rate. Obviously 2 strong running games with Lamar and company, and then Nick Chubb leading the way for the Browns, and defenses that are both below average in EPA and success rate, both below average against the pass and the run. Are you betting
the game or not, Stephen? Jesus Christ, what's going on? I mean, what's going on?
I need help.
Like, I mean,
45.5 looks good to me, but I know scoring's been so down this year.
Adam, I was going to ask you the same thing. Honestly, I think the only look for me, I would be looking at it over. I understand it's not 2 high-flying offenses. It's not 2 offenses that we look at and we say like, oh, all these weapons and they're going to score real quick. But it's 2 highly efficient run offenses, and that doesn't mean they can't put points on the board. And 2 weird, for whatever reason, 2 defenses that can't stop the run either. And so, at 45.5, which is available at several books out there, it's at least an interesting look.
Yeah, what's interesting for me is I make this game Baltimore 4.5. And of course, I would look at that and say, oh, well, if there's 6.5 out there, those are both probably interesting numbers on Cleveland. But think about this. Myles Garrett's on the injury report. Jadeveon Clowney's on the injury report. Wyatt Teller is on the injury report, and so is Jack Conklin. And those last 2 on the offensive line are what's going to keep me off this game. Because the one thing that should be is that the Cleveland offensive line is able to run block. If they are down on that offensive line and they're not able to run block the way that we would expect that they would, then I don't know that offense is going to be able to produce anything behind Jacoby Brissett. So I'm passing on this one.
Yeah, and I think maybe these defenses have started to figure Jacoby Brissett out a little bit, right? Like we saw the first few weeks of the season, we were like, oh, Jacoby Brissett, by the way, look at these grades and look at all the whatever, and he's perfectly fine. And now we've seen over the last few weeks as well where he's started to struggle a little bit. Yeah, I'm wondering if these defenses have started to figure him out a little bit along the way as well.